In 2022, Rockstar Games was hit with one of the most devastating leaks ever. 60 or 70 in-development gameplay videos leaked. There was a massive fiasco, gave us our first look at Jason, Lucia, and various aspects of Grand Theft Auto 6, but I think really there was a lesson to be learned, and it was that Rockstar Games is not untouchable. Their secretive nature, this was something that was bound to happen, especially when you employ thousands of developers across the world. And here we are in 2026, and I think the consequences are starting to play out in a way that people aren't talking about. When we talk about these companies, a lot of people love to bring the corporate side of why Rockstar Games isn't marketing to consumers. It's always like, well, look, financially it makes sense that Take-Two Interactive, they don't feel the need to do it. But I do think that there's a flip side to this in which there was a time in which this gaming industry, when we talked about these companies, it was talking about from the fan perspective, not the investing world, not Wall Street, not corporate, but how fans would, be involved in this. And you can look about a decade or so ago, Rockstar Games was interacting with the community. They had lengthy marketing periods, and things have become more corporate. That's the entire video game industry over the last number of years. And with Grand Theft Auto 6, people are pissed. And that's why right now, the assessment that you're seeing on social media, the way that people are feeling about this leak, is kind of satisfaction that Rockstar Games suffered this. Because a lot of people don't like the fact that they're so secretive. People don't like the fact that they think that they are untouchable, unbreakable. And look, the video game industry right now, there has been massive leaks hitting left and right. You see Wolverine, that's been hit with a number of leaks over the last couple of years. That's the next big upcoming AAA release. But even From Software, the Duskblood's gameplay leaked ahead of its network test. That was a massive story, kind of overshadowed by what's going on right now with Rockstar and GTA 6. But the video game industry, things will leak. They will happen. This will happen. And it's just very interesting, all of the details that we are hearing coming from Rockstar Games inside of the company. And it is the fact that they are kind of clueless on what to do. 3 days after this leak, not much movement in terms of finding this individual and stopping them, which is very different than what happened in 2022 when the Teapot individual came about and leaked all of that Grand Theft Auto 6 in development footage, because they were working with authorities, the FBI, the UK police, and they got that individual almost immediately. This person, though, obviously more sophisticated, they know what they are doing, and it doesn't seem like they are scared of Take-Two Interactive and Rockstar Games, and they think that they can have this go on for a while. And the question is, though, can they retain the eyes? And it's just, I keep looking back to this website, and it is important to understand that there's multiple websites that this individual has. Again, there's sophistication behind this operation. It's not like you can just shut down one of these websites. It's because he has a gateway inside. It's very complicated, but the point is, this individual was prepared for this. They spent an immense amount of money making sure that this was something that was going to go on for long periods of time, and that's playing out with their crypto, which is right now blowing up. But it's these specific lines, the final words. He talked about protecting consumers and such. Some people think that's BS based on the fact he has been pumping his meme coin so much, but I do think it's interesting how he says, no private negotiations, no quiet settlements, the public sees it or the leaks do not stop. Publishers should beware. If CyberLeak can reach Rockstar, no one is safe. And he's indicated that this is going to keep on going. And yesterday we got 2 more gameplay videos. It doesn't appear that this is going to end. I originally thought that there was just a couple of clips that this person had, but that quickly became, oh, this person has build access. And now it's the question of how much build access does he actually have? And based on some of the footage we're about to go over, the strip club and such, who knows where this ends? Like, are we going to see Lucia gameplay? Are we going to see more story content over the next month or so? It does feel like this individual could have so much locked and loaded for the next couple weeks and such. And again, maybe Rockstar Games kills some of the interest with the big Netflix presentation that's coming up, but I'm skeptical on that. And it is worth mentioning that Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive on social media continue the DMCA takedown crackdown. They're going after many posts, but the problem is, like how in 2022 it happened, people are just endlessly reposting this stuff and they can't keep up. And yeah, like if this person even edited it with like AI or something, and ultimately didn't matter, still got taken down by Take-Two's lawyers. And it's kind of similar to what happened with Last of Us 2 when that game leaked. They were just DMCing anything and everything. Even if people were talking about it, it was like, who gives a shit? We'll take this down now. We'll deal with the consequences later of that. They didn't care. It was kind of, they went overboard with it. And that was also also a massive controversial story at the time. But right now, Rockstar Games, the only official movement we are seeing from them is the continuing marketing for their Netflix presentation. Even the official Netflix account was talking about how many days until Grand Theft Auto 6 in an extended look, and you can guess how the comment section went with all of that. But that event in of itself was just a massive turning point negatively in terms of Rockstar's reputation. And it does need to be mentioned, though, that the CyberLeak website did update, and this was a very interesting one. And this is where people started to turn and say that this meme coin is being greedy, and then some people brought up the argument of, well, yeah, Rockstar Games is also being greedy with how they've conducted Grand Theft Auto 6. For the Ultimate Edition, to the pre-orders and all of that such, and to the Netflix special and how they're paywalling all of that. Some people are saying both are being greedy, so why are you more upset about this individual rather than Rockstar? So, again, it's just a war of opinions right now on social media, and that culture war kind of has bled over to almost every single release. It's just nonstop. But on CyberLeak's website, he actually announced that he was now raising funds through community support and strategic partnerships. He said that this was not a ransom where publishers paid to stop the leaks. Instead, he was offering premium in-video advertising space and exclusive content opportunities. He also had a little section on his website saying that, yeah, you can advertise anything from adult content to gambling. He does not care. He is also offering custom-made gameplay footage tailored to whatever, I guess, the paying individual wants to see of the game. The big detail that caught everybody's attention was the fact that he was asking for about $164,000 in crypto just to contact him. So that was a massive story, and the leaks have only continued. That's the big thing. This is not stopping. This individual, clearly, it seems like he could have a lot more that could go on for who knows how long. And we did see a number of posts that continue to go viral on social media. It just needs to be mentioned. There's so many LARPers, so many fake CyberLeak accounts, and this is why you have to be skeptical about a lot of the stuff you're seeing, because I've seen people parroting, like, CyberLeak says this Grand Theft Auto 6 build was from 2023. That was a fake account. Another account leaked a supposed ending. That was also a fake CyberLeak account. And then you have this story, which actually even got the attention of some games media, which published articles about it. CyberLeak claims he will release a playable GTA 6 build within a week. He also says it could happen as soon as tomorrow. Unverified. Think about the logic of this. He's right now advertising his meme coin. It cost $164,000 just to contact him, and in a week he's going to release a build. You see how that doesn't make any sense? Because this is a fake account. And we even had Insider Gaming having to public a redaction article saying GTA 6 leaker report concerning releasing the build has been removed, and they had to apologize to their audience for not doing a due diligence into this story. Again, it's just non-stop. There's just so much fake stuff out there, and that's going to be a problem for Take-Two Interactive, and it actually is a problem, as they're going to have to figure out who's real versus who's fake. And it seems like all these social media sites, whether it be on Telegram, Discord, or on X, or wherever, TikTok, even in YouTube, they're all fake. It seems like only the website is the actual legit tool of this individual, wherever they live. And look, even if Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive were to track him down, what happens if he lives in Russia and Belarus or wherever? The problem is these locations not going to be able to extradite them or shut down their operation, unless maybe Rockstar has some sort of secretive private investigators they can send in. Their SEAL Team 6, maybe they have some connections, I don't know, but it seems unlikely. And if they are located in one of those locations, it really is game over for Rockstar and Take-Two, and they just have to hope that this individual does not have a full build of the game. Something that, might I add, they have not indicated in any of these reports. There's been no indication of how much access, and I think that is kind of telling, the fact that Rockstar is not coming out, releasing a statement or saying anything like, this individual does not have full build access. They only have early access to certain parts of the game. The fact that they're not saying that is kind of alarming. But it has been reported, this was a big part of Jason Schreier's report that he did publish on his YouTube channel, and it was the fact that Grand Theft Auto 6 is actually still not finished. Rockstar Games employees are continuing to work on the game until its release. And Gene Park, another games journalist of the Washington Post, acknowledged, saying, as far as I know, these games are releasing extremely hot. There's another big game coming out earlier that's also isn't even done. And Jason Schreier's report kind of went a little bit more in detail about this on his YouTube channel. He also said a couple more things about how Rockstar Games developers feel about all of this.
Morale is a concern at this point, because it can be frustrating to see something like this happen. So some sentiments I've heard from talking to people at Rockstar. I think there's a little bit of frustration about obviously having your work get shown in a kind of unofficial capacity sucks. But more than that, just having it be shown by somebody who is like not good at playing the game, I think it definitely could have been worse, is a sentiment that I've heard. Frustration that this is happening again. Frustration that Rockstar is a constant target of this.
This is what happens when you are the industry leader, the biggest entertainment company of all time, creating one of the biggest entertainment products of all time, the most highly anticipated game of all time. You are going to be targeted, and that's exactly what has played out. And they've already put immense security measures after the 2022 leaks, and guess what? It didn't matter. And that's why I think a lot of this could have been avoided if Rockstar Games was more forthcoming. If they could have released gameplay, they could have released more footage a couple of months ago. The 6-month mark is usually when they start to really ramp things up, but they decided this go around to really not start until around 2 or 3 months. And this is the consequences of that. If they gave more information, more footage of this game, people would have less of an appetite for the clips that we're seeing right now, which, yes, are an unfinished look at the game. And right now, the sentiment online is a mixture of just extreme excitement, saying that this game has made people more excited. That's actually a position I have. I think the details, the Red Dead Redemption 2 influence is just so awesome. I love the way that the direction that Rockstar Games took this. But there is a flip side in which a lot of people are extremely unimpressed, and they're also pointing out that this is just more GTA. I think some people expected something more grand, and it doesn't appear to be that in their minds. As you can see, these are just some of the viral posts that have been going on social media. Every new GTA 6 leak looks more and more underwhelming. Graphically, it looks exactly the same as the old one. Doesn't look like the marketing materials they've released so far, and looks dull, gray, and buggy. It does need to be mentioned that a lot of this footage, because of, I guess it was captured with HDR, it looks washed on Twitter, and I think a lot of people don't know that. I hope the leaks are some of the years old build and not the final product. It is at least a year old, but I just don't think it's going to be drastically different. Another individual saying Night City of Cyberpunk will always have more swag than any GTA because it was actually artistically inspired instead of realism slop. I feel like that word slop has been lost, the meaning of it. It's just used endlessly on everything. Another individual, I can't even post because he posted the 2022 leaks for some reason, saying these leaks is doing humanity a service, stripped of all hype. People can now see it. It's not some life-altering thing, not some enormous upgrade worth 12 years of dev time. It's just another bog standard GTA with mildly better graphics and a smaller map. Although there's some factual errors with that, but a lot of people upvoting this stuff. I mean, 10,000 upvotes on this. Another individual saying not a single frame in the leaked GTA 6 gameplays, that there are this amount of NPCs in the game. Already people pushing the downgrade concern. Another individual, which is more of a troll, Michael Does Life, saying GTA 6 looks mid. The world looks so dead and empty with hardly any NPCs. $1 billion game, by the way. Nearly 15 years in the making. Not even a car refueling animation, by the way. Watch Dogs 1 and 2 have more life in its open world than this slob. You consumers love lining up to the buffet. And then TGG, another GTA YouTuber, probably one of the biggest, he made the mistake of saying, feeling terrible for the Rockstar Games team right now. Another event soured by leaks just 9 days before the launch of the Netflix show, and yeah, he took the heat. They're paywalling a effing trailer through a streaming service. Who actually feels bad for them? LOL. Feeling terrible for Rockstar. 68,000 upvotes, my god. If the company behind the game didn't advocate against unions, kill mods, sue modders, knowingly release broken games, treat their consumers like nothing more than dollar signs, I would care too, but they don't. So I really don't care. Hope the source code leaks at this point. And it goes on and on. Just many people livid with Rockstar Games and anybody who's showing support for this company right now. But it does need to be mentioned that we actually had a former Rockstar Games developer, Overmej, worked at Rockstar Games in the early 2000s, and he said this: "Calm down, everybody. The leaks are a nothing burger. As a marketing strategy, Rockstar is trying to keep the game under wraps longer than other publishers. All that has happened is that some footage has escaped, slightly ahead of the Netflix thing next week. 90% of future players don't spend their time on the internet looking for video snippets. They don't have the time and don't want spoilers. I imagine the teams are a little annoyed about it, but not more than that. I was there during Hot Coffee. It was a nightmare for management, but didn't affect us much. The current leaks are far less consequential than HC was, hot coffee. It looks like GTA 6 will be phenomenal and sell for the next 15 years or so. The leaks are just tiny blip. And I question that position or that perspective because we don't know how much access CyberLeak has, and Rockstar Games is not being forthcoming about how much access he has. And it doesn't seem like they know how this leak happened or who this individual actually even is. And that's after 3 or 4 days of all this happening. So it's just a lot of uncertainty right now, and I don't know how you can really run to this perspective. Based on the footage that we have seen thus far, yes, it's not too spoilery, not too crazy, but things could ramp up. That could be the CyberLeak strategy, that he drip feeds this for the next month or so and start showing story spoilers and such. So I don't know how you can have this position, but yes, based off of the footage that we have seen so far, it's not too spoilery, I suppose. But yeah, just the other day, we did have the 7th Grand Theft Auto 6 gameplay video, and it did show a tease of the strip club, which came later on. We'll talk about that in a second. But the footage did have some impressive details within it. It showed us going up to the fuel pump again. It just could reconfirm the fact that you do have to fuel up. There's a services prompt that will appear when you get close to your fuel, although you don't have to get out. It's not to the extent that Red Dead Redemption 2 was, in which it seems like the realism really went overboard with every single action in that game. In GTA 6, they implemented some realism to it, but they also, like I said, you don't have to get out of your car. You can just run up to the fuel, hit the little prompt, and fuel up immediately. There's also an option to repair your car. In this instance, it was like $2,400. And the players switched between the two before choosing fuel. And then we got our first look at the robbery system, or at least one of the robberies, in which Jason gets out of his car, runs into a shop. Glazed donuts can be purchased at the till. Instead, Jason punches the shopkeeper twice and steals cash from the till. This action, though, we actually see that he has to take out the cash hand by hand. I'm sure that's probably done because they want these robberies to have some sort of pressure as you have to wait for the cops approaching and stuff. And yes, each wads of cash is taken from the till one by one. Police approach the petrol station and Jason jumps into the car and drives off. And we do hear DJ Khaled's Bills Paid featuring Lotto and City Girls can be heard on the radio. Rockstar Games definitely went to extreme lengths to make sure that this soundtrack is just insane. All kinds of well-known songs. I'm sure they paid well into the millions for this. Furthermore, it is shown that he runs into another shop. Jason pulls out the Girardi ES9 pistol. The shopkeeper tells the protagonist to put the weapon away, and other NPCs are shocked. Jason shoots the lady at the till multiple times and steals cash from the machine again. This leads to Jason blasting off in the Thrax, that vehicle that was shown in a previous leak, once again with police in pursuit. And I think one of the most notable details about this footage is the fact that you have Jason shooting with one hand. Like in Grand Theft Auto 5 and I think even Red Dead, you have two hands on the gun. No, it's more slang, I guess you could say. The fact that, no, he's got one hand and he just shoots him with a handgun. Very interesting. Some attention to detail there. I think it's funny. The car's rear end hits a barrier when he's driving away and it clips a truck. It causes significant damage to the car. It's a level of destruction not seen in GTA games before. The wheel comes off and you can see the brake discs. Bumper parts fly off in realistic ways. This all takes place in slow motion, cinematic camera angle from the point of impact. It looks like an animation from Burnout when you crash. It actually is extremely impressive. And these are the things that I just really love about Grand Theft Auto 6 and the direction that they took this game in. But the thing is, this is an in-development footage, so things are subject to change, and that's why I'm very curious to see how this game has come along in the last year, and obviously we'll get our first glimpse of that with the Netflix special that's going to be airing in a couple of days. But there was a big detail that a lot of people were talking about. It was the fact that there was a watermark which said 3 million market cap for CyberLeak, and he would release strip club footage. And that hit almost immediately. Like I said, his meme coin is blowing up right now. We'll go a little bit more detail in a second with that because there's some interesting details about that. But yes, he hit that market cap and almost immediately the strip club footage was released. And it shows a backcountry strip club. And I think some people need to understand that there is going to be differences between the Vice City clubs and the ones that we're seeing here, which I believe takes place in Port Gellhorn. But yes, we did see that Jason walks through into the strip club. You can see lots of different NPCs and rooms. Neon lights illuminate the interior. I think the most impressive detail is just like you have video on the screen in which you can see like the Vice City Mambas NBA team. well, not an NBA team, but a fictional NBA team playing basketball. There's NPCs just all have realistic animation, movement, and such. It's not like super, like tons of NPCs all around, but they all look extremely detailed, and that's the one thing we see because this individual later on uses binoculars for some random reason. And if you look at the NPC face compared to anything out of Red Dead 2 or even Grand Theft Auto 5, it's just night and day difference between those games and the NPCs in this game. And it just goes to show the advancements of technology and what Rockstar Games is now working with. And they are one of the only companies that really takes advantage of hardware. Now we do see a woman shaking her bottom towards one of the customers, and the walkthrough continues and more NPCs come into view, including some surrounding a pole with a woman beginning to dance. Jason stands looking at the dancer for quite some time as she performs for the customers. I did see some people saying that there was some repeated Grand Theft Auto 5 animation in these clips, and it just has to mention that a lot of this is probably just placeholders, and again, this is a game in development. But we do also see that at the end of this that a new cutscene is shown that we haven't seen before. Jason actually has a new haircut, and he's wearing the t-shirt from the second trailer in which he meets Lucia in. That's very interesting. Maybe he just put it on in game, but it could give an indication that we're going to see some stuff with Lucia. And if that happens, I have to believe he has access to a lot more of the game than he's shown thus far. And I really do think that is the big telltale sign. If he shows Lucia gameplay, it really might be game over for Rockstar Games and Take-Two, because he could leak the entire game before it does release. Nobody knows where the end point of all of this is. Maybe it is a release of a build. Like that fake Telegram account made that saying it's going to happen in a week. I don't think that's going to happen. But who knows what the end game of all of this is and why Rockstar Games obviously is freaking out right now. But yes, we do see another way too on the nose cutscene in which Jason says, "I'll go take a leak." He's just sitting around saying, "I'm going to go take a leak." It's clearly another cutscene mocking Rockstar Games and calling out Take-Two Interactive. It really is just crazy that this is continuing. And the cutscene switches to inside the men's toilets. A scruffy looking man, I think he was also shown in some of the official trailers, is at a urinal and speaks out loud saying, "I had me a girl once," as he wheezes. Jason responds with, "What?" To which the NPC says, "Then the sea called." Jason isn't impressed as he uses the urinal and simple answers with "cool." The NPC goes on to shout, "Come on, F," as Jason finishes his leak. And this is analysis coming from Rockstar Intel, shout out to them, but it's just extremely, I'll say this, the cutscene and the quality, all of this is extremely impressive, but I'm more curious about where this is headed, because this individual clearly thought all of this through, and I just wonder if we're going to eventually see a massive flip to Lucia footage, and that's where things could get a lot more crazy. But I do think it is notable the fact that Cyberleak is being extremely reactionary. People were criticizing his driving skills. He releases footage showing just amazing driving. And we also saw criticism, the fact that this was likely clips that he obtained, and he doesn't have build access. Then he showed himself shooting his name into the wall. And then we also saw people criticizing the fact that Jason was wearing the same outfit. There was no real change with any of that until this footage, in which we again see him with a different shirt that was featured in trailer 2, might I add, and we also see him with a longer beard. So if he's listening, we could be seeing more footage maybe associated with somebody like Lucia, or maybe we see some other story content to be. Going to be very interesting to see what the next steps of the situation are from that front. But it does need to be mentioned that Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive are going to extreme lengths to track him down, and some of it just feels like they're throwing anything at the wall and hoping that it sticks. Xbox actually released a statement, their CTO, saying it is helping Rockstar protect IP after the GTA 6 leaks. This is what Scott Van Villette said. "We're working closely with Take-Two and Rockstar Games to support efforts to protect creative works and intellectual property," which is kind of funny because of the fact that Rockstar still sent a subpoena over, forcing them to send over all records and everything associated with Cyberleak, when it seems like Xbox was already willing to give them full support. So I'm not sure why they went to those lengths. Probably just lawyer stuff, I have to believe. But yes, Xbox is cooperating. No idea what that means in the grand scheme of things. We did see that Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive did have subpoenas approved that forces Microsoft and Discord to divulge info about users the publisher believes are tied to the leaks. Again, there's just no evidence that this individual CyberLeak does have a social media presence, and it doesn't feel like he's the type of individual that'd be sloppy about all of this. But I could be wrong. I really could be. And we also did see that Take-Two's lawyers have finally issued a subpoena in a New York district court to X to identify CyberLeak_AR_IO. The problem with this is that this individual is a well-known LARPer that was called out in the official footage by CyberLeak. He actually had to release, I think it was like the third gameplay leak, in which he had a watermark which says, "I do not have a Twitter account." And then this individual just started posting a bunch of random stuff, which clearly indicated that this was a LARPer and somebody that was faking. And other individuals had already found some information that indicated that they were a fake the entire time. So Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive sending subpoenas for clearly fake individuals, it just feels like they're trying to, they're going at anything, trying to find any little room of maybe there's something about this account that makes them official in Rockstar's eyes. I just don't think that there's much there. And it shows the desperation and the fact that they just have no way of finding this individual. And it does need to be mentioned that they also sent a subpoena to Google to find out some apparent YouTube channels that were also apparently connected to CyberLeak. It's desperation right now. And even if they find this individual, it's unclear if they're going to be able to do anything at the time, especially based on wherever they're located. But this is what his CyberLeak meme coin, it's right now blowing up. It almost has a market cap of $20 million. That's just insane. We also saw a breakdown coming from Vice Sit on the GTA forums. He's done a fantastic job analyzing all of this financial information, and the most notable parts of his new update is that the leaker apparently today burned 270 million tokens being held in a private reserve wallet to reassure traders that this was not a pump and dump. This means that those tokens are gone and can never be recovered. Now that the risk of a pump and dump is gone, traders have felt more comfortable investing in the coin. As we've seen, it went from like a market cap of 2 million to almost 20 now. The leaker is now only making consistent money from the transaction fees from people buying and selling the coin. This is their motivation for drip feeding the leaks and burning the reserve wallet of 270 million tokens. As long as they can keep everyone's attention and keep dropping leaks, people will continue trading the coin and making the leaker money. And so far, the estimated earnings from these trading fees that he's making money off is between $70,000 to $90,000. It's a lot, and this is a couple of hours old. It's probably now a lot more based on the amount of activity that's just happened over the last couple of hours. And then he mentioned the fact that this is actually very notable why he's no longer doing polls, and it's because based on the trading and the income, it looks like he only made about $1,500. I believe the first poll really underperformed compared to what the leaker was expecting, and this is why we have not seen another one done as of now. So what I consider one of the biggest video game leaks of all time continues on, and it doesn't feel like it's going to be slowing down at all, as the CyberLeak meme coin is currently blowing up. He's going to be making immense amount of cash, and it gives him further motivation just to leak even more about this game. And that's what my fear right now is, and it has to be one that Rockstar has, that he's going to start releasing more substantial pieces of information related to Grand Theft Auto 6. And if that happens, the internet's going to blow up, especially if we see Lucia. I think that'll be our greatest indication that he has access to a lot more game than right now people believe, because I think the assessment a lot of people have is that he only has access to certain story missions. And it's because if you look at the minimap of some of these leaked videos, especially the last two, the C for Cal mission icon is no longer there, indicating that he probably completed it, but there's no other mission icons on that map. So what that probably indicates is that maybe those are the only missions that he had access to, but there's also no side missions, and maybe he just has it turned off. It's unclear. That's the big thing. There's just so much uncertainty in the air. Regardless, though, I will continue to follow all of this, because this has to be one of the craziest leaks ever that has happened in this video game industry. But I want to know your thoughts on all of this. What are your thoughts on the latest gameplay leaks that have emerged? What are your thoughts on the positions that people have right now about this footage, which seems like a war of opinion? Some people saying that it looks extremely impressive, one of the most impressive games ever, versus a lot of people saying that this is just more Grand Theft Auto and it really isn't that remarkable. What do you think about it? Let me know your thoughts down below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video, or if you found any informative value. Consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.